Welcome on into the Colorado Prep Show presented by UPSWING. I am the editor-in-chief of Colorado Preps, Dan Mohrmann. A little bit of a holiday show today. We were able to sit down and chat with Denver Post Gold Helmet winner Elian Oliva to chat about the Gold Helmet Award itself, the fraternity of guys that he now joins, and what his journey looks like moving forward as a commit to the United States Air Force Academy. He's going to come down to my neck of the woods, play some college football for Troy Calhoun and the Falcons. So it was a fun interview. He's a good kid, good head on his shoulders, bright future ahead. So it was really good to chat with him just about his journey. The Colorado Prep Show is, of course, brought to you by our friends at UPSWING at 7460 South University Boulevard in Centennial. UPSWING is where UPSWING invests in the drive and talent of young athletes, creating opportunities for them to excel in and out of the gym. Elite training is a way for youth to develop skills and habits far beyond sports, all available at UPSWING. And of course, when they're done with that heavy training, the recovery at UPSWING helps young athletes prevent injuries, bounce back faster, and keep progressing towards their dreams like playing college football at the Air Force Academy for someone like Elian Oliva. Great chat. Good kid. Hope you enjoy it. Hope everyone has a great holiday season. And we will see you on the next episode after you hear our interview.
A little more slack.
Whoever said work smarter, not harder, didn't realize you could do both.
This is Tim Anderson of Gordon Insurance, and we are proud to support all of our area athletes. With offices in Lyman, Callahan, Flagler, Sterling, and Kit Carson, we offer all types of insurance, including home, auto, commercial, farm, crop, life, bonds, and workman's compensation. We are independent and thus can offer you multiple choices of companies, not just one. Call or visit the office near you, and one of our agents can take care of you. See all of our contact information by going to www.gordonins.com or call me at 719-740-1361.
Raising Cane's invites you to grab life by the chicken fingers. So get out there. Be you. Do you. Embrace whatever makes you, you. All while enjoying Raising Cane's hand-battered cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that secret recipe cane sauce that makes everything that much better. So go on. Savor the day.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Yo, I can guard pro in these.
I can guard you and route you up.
You sure about that?
Fellas looking for a quarterback?
The goal!
You're right, Billy. These do bring out my eyes.
Every shoe for every athlete.
Dix is the GOAT.
First of all, congratulations. I know that the gold helmet is very much a big deal. And I want to start there real quick because I've been doing this now for full-time in preps for over a decade. And every time the gold helmet winner gets tweeted out, it always hits me with oh yeah, there's a gold helmet. Like, it's not an award that always comes to the forefront. How aware were you of the award and the potential impact something like that can have?
So I was made aware of the award pretty recently, actually. My dad and extended family were looking at past award winners, and it came up on the Denver Post that nominations were being requested. So before, I'd say about 4 months ago, I didn't really know about it. And as I've gotten to learn about it, and the history of it, it's been an award I think should be much more spotlighted than it is right now.
And that kind of goes into the process that I think Matt Schubert and Kyle Newman have really started to go down with the gold helmet now being still connected with the Post, but they started the Gold Helmet Foundation, its own 501c3, and I'm part of that voting process. So that's part of why you bumped into me. I was in a better looking shirt than I am right now, but so it's something that I too will be very much more aware of. But it really felt like, especially with all those former winners at that banquet the other night, that this is something that they're also very interested in rallying around. Do you feel like this is very much. I hate to use the word fraternity to a kid
Mhm.
who's going into college, but does it have a little bit of that feel?
I mean, I would say so because you're taking a collective group of guys who really are all with some like-minded values or principles that they want to lead on with in life. And I would say when you look at a fraternity as a whole, they kind of instill and teach those values. So this can just meeting all the guys there, especially Carlo Kemp, just seeing myself and those people that relate with me with my similar drive and kind of desire to do something great in this world.
I noticed you were hanging out with Carlo, probably more so than everyone else. I mean, he's probably closer to your age, so there's probably a little bit of that connection. But what did you guys talk about, through the course of the night that really stuck with you?
Well, we just talked about his story and his personal like burnout with the sport a little bit in college. Also just like the struggles of weight and weight room and kind of the whole ordeal of college. And more so talking about how I can use him as a tool for advice or really anything that I would need to talk about in regards to the sport or even just life. And I think that's a big part of the Gold Helmet Award is building these connections with these people that can really influence your life and help you. And then as I continue to grow older and more Gold Helmet Award winners are named, do that same process.
And Maurice gave a fantastic speech ahead of time.
Yes, he did.
I thought the military background actually was very relevant, considering that you're going to go play football at the Air Force Academy. What can you learn from just like that brief interaction to a guy who was really speaking to all of us, but emphasizing the journey that you're about to go on?
Well, I think his speech about it and a big part of the military is just continuing to move forward, as he was mentioning several times, dig deep, grind in, and kind of continue to march forward no matter what your circumstances may be or no matter what may be going on. And I think that really hit home for me because the Air Force Academy is obviously going to be a lot of new experiences, a lot of new struggles, but also a lot of new like how should I put this? A lot of new life character building. And I think going into it with that mentality of being able to just embrace every experience through my own values and then continue to just push forward no matter how hard it gets or what the circumstance may be that day is like the most important part of what I took away from his speech.
I want to get to your college journey in a few minutes, but where'd your love of football really start? Like, take us back to youth Elian and where you first started playing the game and how you came to love it the way you do.
So I actually never played before high school. I was
You did say that.
no, I was a gymnast and a rock climber for 8 years of my life. And at some point, my brother just decided he was done with that and wanted to find a place to do football. So we were in 8th grade and we found Northfield's future team, which was all the 8th graders that were hopeful to go to the high school playing football against other teams, futures teams, and decided to go to one of those practices, get pads on, get a helmet on, and just work through those practices. And over the course of about a month, when I was still going to climbing practice and gymnastics, I really decided that I love this sport a lot more than what I was currently doing. And it kind of just took off from there with the people I got to meet, but also like it's a much more tight knit group of people than you would find really in any other sport.
The other night you said you walked into Northfield football and you were what, 5'6", 140 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, about that 5'6", yeah, 135 is the exact numbers. So by no means did the love come from being really good at the sport or anything. It really just came from recognizing I love being around these people and really the desire to just get better.
How did that kid, that 5'6", 135-pound kid, was there a point where he realized that football could definitely be a pathway to what your academic future was going to be?
So I actually only realized that about a year ago. In the middle of my junior season, I started having coaches reach out to me. People were actually talking about my game. Coaches were starting to game plan around me. And until that point, it was my freshman and sophomore year, were really just weight room, sprints training, track, just trying to build all the foundational pieces to, I guess, get me into a place where I could succeed and put my name out there. And I saw that really start to take form about a year ago.
And it feels like as you were progressing forward, that Northfield overall was starting to progress a little bit forward. I mean, is there, as a guy who is going to leave this program in a much better place than he found it, is there, some pride in the symmetry that was able to take, that as you developed, that program was also developing into what is hopefully going to be a good DPS program in the future?
I would say, yeah, it was pretty cool to watch as we were able to continue building. But I wouldn't say it just started growing up with me and having success with me, but more so the team culture that we were able to build. And I think a senior last year really did a good job of this. His name is Aiden Martin. He's at Wake Forest now. He did a great job getting a really high culture and a really high standard in our practices. Same with one of my former teammates, Dylan Anderson. They both kind of push this idea that you have to struggle to get better. You have to fail to get better. And our senior class really adopted that idea, put it into practice, put it into games. And that's where you really saw like the big jumps in our having the best record our team's ever had and making that jump to 5A. But it really all started about a year ago with a small group of people just trying to shift a culture.
You saw and heard Matt Schubert the other night, formerly of the Denver Post. He's now at the Athletic, but he's still very much involved with this gold helmet process. I actually remember I was sitting in my living room tracking scores, and I see someone pop up with, Northfield beat Mesa Ridge 10-7.
Yeah.
And so, and I worked, and I couldn't like truly verify, but it came from I remember it coming from somewhere that I'm like, oh, this is legit. And I remember sending out a tweet saying, word out there is that Northfield got a 10-7 win over Mesa Ridge. And Matt replied to me and he said, wait, in football? And so that was kind of the light bulb moment for the rest of us that, okay, Northfield is now kind of up there. It is now a program that people are going to recognize. What did that win do for you guys as a program?
So after our week 1 loss, which was quite rough against Roosevelt High School, we were going into that week. We're like, we have to win. We have to put a name out there for ourselves so it doesn't end up like last season where we went, what was it? I think it was 6-4 or 5-5 going into the playoffs and then first round playoff exits. So practice that week was really, really dialed in. We were focused a lot on just putting in stuff for our offense. So a little bit more power sets, a little bit more screen game. And then for our defense, we were really focused on really the fundamentals. So tackling, pursuit, and really making sure we didn't overrun the hip, which was, I think, a big issue on our film in Roosevelt. And then we kind of just went out there, hyped, kept the energy up. And it was that first score that really made us realize that we're a capable team. These guys aren't better than us. We actually have the ability to win this game.
And then things just kind of took off from there. You didn't beat Heritage, but that was another really good team that you guys hung and battled with. So was that confidence level for you guys just continuing to grow from that point on?
Yeah. So I guess a little bit of a confidence comes from the kids at school, of course, because people talk about sports all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a notoriously really good soccer team. So being up there in the conversation with our soccer team and people recognizing that our team is solid this year and that we can actually do something was a little bit of confidence, like external confidence, but then inside of our own team and in film rooms, looking at current film versus old film and just realizing truly how much better technique we have. And then also that we have the athletes to do it this year.
And then you bounce right back. And then we're not going to go through your schedule game by game, but that early stretch of the schedule is tough. Pueblo East is no slouch in the world of high school football. Yeah. So is that another one? I mean, you and it was in Dutch Clark. Yeah. It's on their turf. So how much you guys have to be kind of strutting a little bit now, sitting at 2-2, but with two massive wins over really strong programs.
Yeah. So people kind of got in that mindset where they're like, we're going to go 8-2. We're going to do these things. And we kind of set the goal right there. And then after we beat Pueblo East, that we're going 8-2, we're setting a program record, and we're going to try and make it as far in playoffs as we can with all the injuries that we've had over the summer, where several of our starters tore their Achilles, their hamstring, and their ACL. So we lost a lot of guys, and we were still able to do something with it.
Man, that's that kind of plays into where we're going to go now, because you come from a family of doctors.
Yes.
And your ambition is to go to medical school. Why go through the Air Force Academy to take that route?
So I think that the Air Force Academy is just something where I want to see my character develop a little bit on its own. And I think the military is a great way to do this, because you're able to build extraordinarily close relationships with people, while I'm also still going to get a great education at the academy. And then learning, I actually learned this more recently, that it all isn't about being deployed or flying a plane or really all the things you think of when Air Force is said. And so I realized that going to the academy was something that was a lot more intriguing than I originally thought, and that I'll still be able to pursue the career path that I want, even if it's in a different way. And I think it's honestly going to be a more interesting way, because combat medicine is really, really, like, you can get some cool stories, cool experiences from it.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there are tales to be told from people who've been in that position. Getting into the academy is no easy task. Everyone made a big deal. I mean, I'm sure AP, they talked about IP classes.
IB, yeah.
Oh, IB. Okay. I know IB. I thought I heard IP. I was going to say, man, the educational aspect of high school, I'm getting aged out of it. But one thing, and this was cool going through a finalist packet for gold helmet winners when we're getting ready to vote, because the stress is equally on what you do off the field as what you do on the field. And I would imagine a lot of people had the same reaction when we got to your nomination, where you look at everything you're doing and the response is, holy crap. Like, so UNICEF is what I want to dive into, because I mean, for those who don't know, and that might include myself and probably Danny Bailey, our producer, what is UNICEF, and how do you go about starting a chapter of that at your high school?
So UNICEF is the United Nations Emergency Child Fund. It's a UN organization that goes and looks into these different issues. So most recently, our fundraiser in October, which was Trick or Treat for UNICEF, was looking at these kids in Zambia, and I don't remember the exact location, but fundraising for really simple things that really everyone should have a human right to, which is shelter, food, and water. And then some also side things, so like blankets and more comfort items that you would want to have as a kid. And essentially the organization that is the UN is able to publicize and make these issues well known. And that way people can receive the help that they need, donate, and that way they can provide the resources that these places should have and that these places will greatly benefit from. And then moving towards the second question of starting the chapter at Northfield, I was just combing through our school clubs list, and there's medicine, there's business clubs like HOSA and DECA, but there was nothing sort of humanitarian related. And I think that's important to, as a high school student, have knowledge of, because high school is meant to be a more well-rounding experience where you can pick what you're going to be passionate about later in life. But also something where, similar to the actual UN, you raise awareness to these issues so people can actually have a more globalized mind and be more considerate.
When I go to court, these aren't my clients, these are my friends. These are people that I believe in, and they have one shot, just one shot for justice. If they've come to me and we've gotten to trial, their life has been turned upside down in some awful way. And I am their only hope. I need to be their champion, to quote Prince Oberyn from Game of Thrones. They need someone in this trial by combat that can fight for them. I'm all they have. So if I haven't put the time in, if I haven't trained, if I haven't humbly looked in the mirror and thought about ways I can be better, and I don't present my best self in court, then I failed them. And that's what motivates me as a trial lawyer, because when this is over, that client goes home. And if I haven't done my best for him, I haven't been his champion, then I've failed.
The Benefits Broker team of agents has over 100 years in employee benefits and individual health care needs and is your 24/7 resource for a variety of essential benefits-related information. Clients have enjoyed the ability to connect in person or by phone, while others enjoy the convenience of their online service where they can review the status of their claims, obtain summaries, and download forms including claim forms. Dave and Steve do their homework so you don't have to. They know the market by distinguishing the best products from the merely adequate. Give them a call at 877-545-4840 or visit them online at benefitsbroker.com.
There are those who say the modern world has made us lose touch with places like this. We say, that depends on what you're driving.
And then you also had a Guatemala medical service trip. And I think at the banquet you said you had done it last year. And you're also doing another one this year.
Yes,
so what
right.
what are you guys doing on that kind of a service trip that again puts us regular people who went to high school and just hope to get our homework done on time and maybe just hang out with your friends on the weekend and putting us to shame? Like how does something like that come about for you?
So my dad actually introduced me to the program director. I don't know his last name, but his name's Colby. He works at UCH, and great guy. Was talking to me and my brother about getting involved with this opportunity, not as doctors, so obviously not doing procedures down in Guatemala, but working with the med students and residents that were traveling down and looking at the medical side of it. So we worked with this med student, again, don't know his last name, his name's Tim, who was researching the cost effectiveness of regional anesthesia versus general anesthesia in a frankly remote place of Guatemala, 7-hour-ish drive from the capital city. So that was really interesting, like helping collect medical records, helping look at trends of finances and looking at what in anesthesia is more like reusable. So some of the intubators and things like that, but also like what we're wasting every time on each patient and whether that's cost effective for these people in this area or whether stuff like more regional would work.
It was obviously important enough for you to go back for a second time. So what are your biggest takeaways from having gone down and gone through that experience?
So my biggest takeaways from it is just, I like seeing how appreciative the people were, like knowing that I'm actually, even though it's not true medical procedures or I'm not doing emergency surgeries, trying to make a difference in their lives and trying to make healthcare more affordable. And truly a place where there's one hospital. I remember a line probably 500 people long to get into this hospital. So making a healthcare system a little more efficient, and because everyone deserves a right to healthcare, in my opinion. So making sure people get some sort of basic treatment when they need the help.
We're now we get into the fun part of college football, because everything with that landscape right now, you have NIL, you have transfer portal, it's almost like a free agency frenzy. Like you seem like you're going into college football with a very clear end game in mind.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you start playing at a high level and then let's just say, for argument's sake, Colorado State right up the road says, hey, we'll pay you we have a $750,000 NIL package that we can put in your hands, which will pay for med school, which will do this, which will do that. Is there anything that can kind of veer you from this path at this point?
So I don't think really anything will veer me from this path because I kind of have my mind set and a path carved out right now. And when you take these other options, it all becomes rejumbled again, and you have to look at different variables and consider other things. And it was kind of the same. Like if I start playing at a really elite level at the academy and maybe a next level becomes a question, then you start to reevaluate. But changing schools or chasing money is like ultimately not what I want to do as a person.
Does that come just from family background, the way that, you know, your dynamic, or the way you've been raised, your dynamic, and just kind of being the goal-oriented person that you are?
Yeah, so a lot of that comes from my dad. Essentially saying where you're at, what school you're at, it doesn't really matter as long as you have work ethic and goals set in mind, but also to finish what you've started and not jump around from ship to ship. Just no matter how the cruise is going or how the seas look, you just got to keep going forward with what you chose, and that everything will work out.
You eventually settled on the Air Force Academy, but were there other schools in the conversation, just in terms of again, I'm going to go back to Maurice, who said he, you know, his parents recommended he go to Harvard. Were there any other options where you thought this might be a good path for med school, and there might be a chance I could play football along the way?
So I had interest from Harvard and Dartmouth for football. Took visits to those schools. It didn't feel as close, like family wise, as the Air Force Academy did, but also just the coaching staff and the team at the academy. It was a much different feeling than I found taking visits to these other schools. And then there were also several track visits that I've taken, and ultimately nothing really is compared.
What is it about the academy that sold you?
It's the brotherhood. I think how close people are, kind of the mentality of I got your back if you got mine, and really just striving to grow as a group of people and not just individuals.
Doesn't help. Probably doesn't hurt that it's close to home.
Yeah.
Was
That's
was
always
that a
been.
priority for you at all, or was that something that you were trying to keep in mind through this whole process, that staying close to home might provide some solid stability for you?
So staying home was never like a top priority of mine before football was in the question. And since I'm doing the IB diploma, I actually considered going to school out of the country in Europe. So I wasn't really chasing like to stay close to home per se, but now that it is close to home, it's a nice benefit.
How often have you been able to, I mean, do you take trips down there for just to kind of scope things out? How much are you talking with the football staff? You know, how comfortable are you trying to get from the academy standpoint ahead of your time, ahead of the point where you're going to head down?
So we've taken a lot of visits down there. Say in the past 6 months, we've been down there about 7 times. I've had tons of phone calls with various coaching staff, and it's been really like an active form of communication where I'm learning new things about the academy, how things are going down there, how the football program's going. Now that this football season's over, those off-season lifting and what that looks like, but also just the academics that the cadets have finished up with are being really strong. So it's all very reassuring to me.
Is the Air Force Academy, and I don't know if you're doing this or not, is that a place where you can graduate early, get in there to start the spring, go through, I'm sure there's some kind of basic training you go through as a cadet, and then get into spring football?
So I cannot graduate early because basic training really only has one start and one end, and it's over the summer. So I'll graduate normally in May, then go to basic training in June.
Was that a reassuring part of this whole deal? Just that you get this spring semester. I assume you're going to run track again. You're a
Yeah.
multi-sport athlete, which we love. We love those here at Colorado Preps, but you also just get to savor that moment, knowing where you're going to end up being, whether it's time with your family, time with your friends, and really live out the rest of that high school experience.
Yeah, so I think graduating early is obviously cool, but it feels like your high school experience is a little incomplete. So I'm grateful I still get to walk the stage, get to finish that semester with my friends with spring break and everything, some ski trips, and really have like a complete close to my high school chapter instead of leaving early and trying to manage my life in college.
With have you had a chance to see some of the other athletics that happen down? I'm a Springs guy. You're coming into my backyard, and I'll tell you, are you a hockey guy at all?
I'm not a hockey guy. I've not watched a lot of hockey.
So I mean, when you get a chance, look up Frank Serratori, their hockey coach, and he's a guy that I don't know how much interaction the athlete or the teams have with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Just he's probably the best soundbite you're going to have in all of Colorado Springs sports. So I would highly recommend that. What else do you know about the Colorado Springs area that will help you make this place feel like your home?
So I haven't been like very informed with the Colorado Springs area since I've been down to the academy and in the academy so much. But what I do know is the Air Force Academy like sponsors system or programs where the various families that are either ex Air Force Academy or are interested in helping cadets, they have homes in the Springs or maybe around the surrounding area, and they can more make that transition feel like you have a home, a second home.
I'm sure that'll be helpful on game days and everything like that. Did you get a chance to attend a football game this fall?
Yeah, so we went to Bucknell and we went to trying to remember what the other one was. We went to a few. Yeah.
What's your takeaway from just the overall experience? How amped are you to just be involved in that whole deal?
I think it's an electric environment. The cadets after they do all of their field work, rushing up to the stands, being super loud and energetic, but as well as like the truly devoted fan base where they're still consistently showing up to games, still consistently supporting the academy. I think it's a really cool environment from what I was able to gather.
And you still have your Colorado kids who make their way to that program. I mean, quarterback Liam Zarka was a Grandview guy. Have you gotten to chat with him at all about the Air Force football experience?
So I haven't talked with Liam as much. I've sent him a few congratulations on Instagram. I've talked with one of their nickels a little bit more at a recruiting dinner. His name was Nick Beckwith. Super great guy. He's from, I think, Louisiana. And he really gave me some great insight into what academy life is like, how hard it was, but how rewarding it is. And also just some more nitty-gritty details about the football program.
What does an ideal football career for Elian Oliva look like at the Air Force Academy?
An ideal football career, I've never really thought about that. I didn't really think about that going into high school. And I would say just continuing what I'm doing right now, making small progressive movement towards, I guess, something bigger. But in high school, I never really had the goal to make it to the next level until it started coming. It was really just work hard, start making small improvements on your technique, your speed, your strength. And as long as I think that's my goal heading into the academy, just maintain the values that I've held for the past 18 years and see where it gets me.
You fit in well with that crowd that was at the Rock Bottom Brewery the other night, just in terms of you have a good head on your shoulders. You're very goal oriented. How much of what those guys were able to offer is going to be able to help you, not just in this next step in your life, but what you do beyond that? And how great is it to have those resources, that network of people that you can just text and ask? Doesn't matter if they're in that field or not, just to have, I think it was probably 7 or 8 of them in the room, and then probably another 20 scattered throughout the country.
I think it's just really amazing that I was able to get these connections, but now that I'm able to kind of rely on their experience and learn from their mistakes or their successes and how to apply that to my own life. So, I mean, I'm going to talk about Carlo Kemp again. Just
please do.
he's really great and sent me a great message after. Same with Marcus Houston. Just if you need anything, really anything, advice, you're confused about something, you need to just talk to somebody, that they're open to talk and feel free to reach out at any time. And that it's just reassuring to me that I'll always have these people who've been in the places that I want to be or have gone through the schooling process that I am hopeful to go through. And knowing that they have the experience and knowledge to give me advice when I'm facing conflict or struggle.
The only other one I can tell you about is there's a really good Mexican restaurant in Manitou Springs owned by a gold helmet winner, Justin Armour, 1990. That's if you need some good food, that's another gold helmet winner who's happy to take care of you. I saw him the other day. He wasn't able to make it up to the banquet, but he wants to be involved in the future. So hopefully you guys can connect at some point. But I know you have probably a ton going on. Are you done with? Are you now officially on break? You told me you were finishing up finals yesterday.
Yeah, so finished up finals around 12 yesterday, and first day on break. Been enjoying it. About to head up to the mountains tonight for a little bit before Christmas, and then come back down.
Are you going skiing?
Yeah, so I'll not today, probably tomorrow and Sunday, but I'll go up, stay the night for a few nights, and just enjoy the mountains a little bit while I can, even though the snow is not that great this year.
Not yet, at least. Where's your prime skiing spot? Where do you guys like to go?
I like Keystone. Breckenridge is kind of mainstream. Vale's really mainstream. And you don't really see a bunch of people going to Keystone, but Keystone has great terrain parks, great terrain, and it's probably been one of the spots I'm going to more often now.
See, I'm a golf guy. I love the mountain courses, and I'm with you. I don't like Breckenridge. I like Keystone. I like the Keystone courses. So
there we go.
Buddy, thanks so much for your time. I mean, we'll keep checking in on you. You're in Colorado Springs, so if you ever need anything just for the lay of the land, you've got my info. You can always reach out and chat. Not that you don't have a network to do that already, but yeah, man, best of luck. We're anxious to see how things go moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. That's Elian Oliva, Northfield High School, Denver Post gold helmet winner.